Hey, what's going on, guys? It is SkolSide Cast. We are back again with another podcast, and just like the other two, we're gonna be going over Seattle, and we're gonna be looking towards Atlanta this Sunday. Honestly, they've been hearing again from me all week, and I know my thoughts on the Seattle loss. It was just a classic Vikings L, and it's just very frustrating. But you guys want to give your thoughts on what the hell happened in the fourth quarter against the Seahawks, or just overall?
Like Pat said, it's a classic Vikings loss there. Overall, you looked at that game. It was setting up the Vikings for success. You know how they were, controlling the clock, running the ball well. The D was, playing really well. That's when the Vikings are good, when they can control the clock and Cousins get the play action going. They're running the ball well, and then just one bad thing happens, and always seems like it spirals out of control. Cousins had a couple turnovers in the second half, and then the D, they got put in bad spots, but sometimes it's nice can you hold them to a field goal in those spots. But every time adversity hits, I feel like the Vikings just kind of give up. They can't really stop it from happening. Stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
And then the fourth quarter, I was impressed. They came back. They had some good drives, and then the fourth quarter, that was rough. I do agree with the call to go for it there. You look at the play, and the whole Alexander Madison miss, and you're like, how can you miss that hole? It was that big. And then the D obviously just couldn't step up. So that was a rough one. The Vikings, get a couple stops, or Cousins can lead to a drive. They could be 3-2 right now, but
Yep.
Here we are, 1-4.
Yeah, that one. That one's a punch to the gut for the Vikings fans. Pat, I know you were riding some momentum. You thought the Vikings were going to ride into the postseason. Really what happened in that third quarter, just what Mike said, and at the end of the first half, you had to feel pretty good because Seattle had like three actual possessions. They went nowhere besides maybe the first drive where they got into field goal range and the Vikings knocked them out. We saw James Lynch get a sack. That was good to see. We actually saw him play.
Yep.
But the problem was the Vikings really dominated the first half, but it was only 13-0. They went for it on fourth down a couple times. They converted, and they were up 7-0. They were driving, and then Drew Samia gave up a sack, and then he had like 1,000 holding penalties, and he gave up like 1,000 pressures. He uses the worst right guard in football right now.
Yep.
And it was disappointing. But Mike said it best. When one thing goes wrong, the second half didn't start bad. The Vikings got 3 and out.
They got to stop.
3 straight Seattle runs, and then I don't know if it was the Cook injury or
it was Cousins.
Geez, Dalvin Cook's a really good player, but he's not Jim Brown.
Yeah.
You can count on more than your running backs in the NFL. I know he's very special to the Vikings, but to watch, I think it was Chris Carson trucking 2 Vikes players, including Harrison Smith, and it was impressive. They came back, they took the lead, and Alexander missed a hole where you could drive a truck through.
Yeah.
That was just really it. And then on the ensuing possession, defensively, Cameron Dantzler misplayed a ball, and then they brought the blitz a couple times. And I don't know if you guys watching that touchdown. Afadi Adenaba had a straight line to Russell Wilson, and he slowed up. And I know he's worried about it. He's worried about that. If he misses him, Russell's gonna get out of it. But in that situation, you're probably better off just completely bull rushing and hoping you sack him. And it was what it was. So I'd like to I know I give Mike Zimmer a hard time, but he went for it, so it's kind of hard to blame him for that. The only thing that I'll say is that what happened in the third quarter is just a sign of it's just kind of a sign of a poorly coached team.
You never chase points when you don't need to, especially early on in a game. That's just, I feel like that's basic, football. Never chase points in the NFL unless you need to. So I didn't like that, but.
Oh, you're talking about the 2-point conversions? Oh.
Yeah. I was talking about going for it in the third. I really just didn't like that call, chasing points, and I don't know. I mean, I get you want to make it 21-21, but I don't. Like, are you gonna run QB draw? Like that's
play call. That's where I was. I don't mind him going for 2 because if you figure, so say they kick the extra point, they make it 21-20. On the next drive, they score. They're gonna go for 2 there.
Yeah.
Play call that's messed up. They should have won for 2 when it was 21-19.
No, yeah. That's what I'm.
27-21.
Yeah.
They didn't. That was really his only, I guess, game managing blemish.
Yeah. But I mean, hindsight's always 20/20 in those situations. I don't think those win or lose. That's why I hate when I see on Twitter all these like expert coaches on Twitter like are like saying like, oh, Zimmer should be fired. I'm like, dude, like Alexander Madison, like I get like we get on Cousins and Zimmer a lot because they're the coach and quarterback, but I mean if we hold them to that stand, like why is Madison not getting more blame? Like he blatantly missed a hole, and I feel bad getting on him. I love Madison, but I mean we should hold him to the same standard as Cousins and Zimmer. I mean it's not like it's not like Cousins just missed a wide open throw, or like Madison missed that's the equivalent of that. So. I mean, yeah.
I think the biggest thing is these fans that are upset that Zimmer went for it on 4th and 1. Like, all right, so like you're up 26-21. You kick a field goal, you go up 29-21. Seattle hits the ball to
25. Yeah.
And they're probably gonna score a touchdown. And who knows if they get the 2-point conversion?
Yeah.
Who knows? But wouldn't you rather have? All right, we need a yard to win. We get a yard to win.
They've been running the ball.
94 yards.
They ran 200 yards that game. Like, I think they can pick up a yard. Also, I don't know if you saw on the 3rd down, like when they ran that pitch to Thielen, which I actually like the play call. I mean, I get it's a little fancy, but get him off going. But I mean, that Seattle defender, I mean, he was in the pile and he came back and just nailed Thielen before he got to the sticks. And it's just like that's just the difference between a Pete Carroll team and a Mike Zimmer team. It's just like you had a random guy right there on a random 3rd down, gave him a chance. Like, just gave him a chance, and, oh, my God, just the amount of times Pete Carroll just said, here you go, here is your road victory. And then it's just the Vikings just not able to. All right, I have a question for you guys. Did you guys so Gary Kubiak last 3 games, I think he's been pretty good. Did you like what you saw with just the whole scheme of the game? I mean, you can talk about the 3rd quarter on what the hell that was. But, I mean, just overall, the only thing I had a problem with is not taking enough shots in the first half. I feel like we had our foot on their throat a little bit. Like, our defense was getting stops. And I get you want to keep running the ball, but we should Seattle, when they got their stops, they had 3 drives, 3 touchdowns. We had 3 drives. We only had 1 touchdown and 2 field goals. I just felt like that was a difference, too. I mean, what do you guys think about the offense?
I kind of agree with you. Overall, like, the Vikings moved the ball well all game, but they had some long drives. But like, again, it was a couple of them were field goals. They had like a 7-8 minute drive, and it was just a field goal. So it's kind of killer. It kind of hurts the momentum, But I mean, yeah, I agree. I don't understand where they don't like get Justin Jefferson more targets. Like, again, he was kind of silent last week. I didn't get that. There's a couple times in the red zone where they had one-on-one, and I think Thielen's a good receiver. I think it was the 3rd quarter where they had Cousins made a really good throw, and they had Thielen go one-on-one. But I would like to see Jefferson get those chances. He's
big,
athletic, he can go up and get the ball, and he's proven that he can catch the ball in traffic. But I mean, I think they're doing what they need to do offensively. They have to. I mean, for Cousins to be good, they have to run the ball well. It's just proven he can't just drop back and pass all the time with him. It's been proven that he can't. He's not good at that. But play actions is bread and butter. When he gets time, he throws one of the best deep balls in the league. So I agree with you. I think they should have took more shots. But overall, I mean, I thought it was a decent play. And also, Irv Smith. Yeah. He showed up. He actually got some big. That was a
hell of a catch on the first drive.
It's good to see him get. If he can get them involved,
See,
Vikings got weapons.
It's
crazy.
Like Irv, I know they're
so young.
Yeah, and Irv's a tight end, but he can stretch the field. Like he had a 25-yard catch. Like, it's not like Irv's gonna be like a Rudolph where he's running out routes. Like, Irv can get down the field. He's 6'2", he's big as hell. Like, I mean, I love seeing Irv getting involved. I think a lot of the Jefferson was the bracket coverage, but there was a couple of times where Cousins kind of has to throw these guys open, where it's like a good quarterback, an elite quarterback, they would have had a lot more success than Cousins did. I don't know, Jim, what'd you think?
My favorite play call from Gary Kubiak this weekend is when they ran the wheel around with CJ Ham. It was like a little jump.
I forgot about that.
Oh, where that is in the play.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one. It's hilarious. They still scored, so it was fine.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Kubiak's been fine. I mean,
I thought he's been good. Yeah.
They're up 7-0, and then, like I said, he calls a play action, and Samia I think sometimes it's hard to scheme and play call when sometimes your guys up front are just gonna get beat, like Samia. I mean, he's gonna get beat like a drum sometimes. I mean, I can't really. I mean, maybe on that 3rd and 4 at the end of the game, I kind of was hoping he'd throw it there.
Yeah.
He didn't throw that whole drive, but I didn't mind. I know some people are kind of upset at the end around Thielen. I'd like to see that play like that go to Jefferson.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe a little bit more set up better for him, but I mean, I thought he's been pretty good the last 3 games. I mean, I would say he got Irv Smith involved, like you guys said. A lot of different receivers got involved in that first touchdown drive.
BC had a nice comeback. Yep.
So I mean, Kubiak's been fine. It's just like you said, the Vikings dominated the first half, but we got
13-0.
Settle for those field goals, and really, he took a shot at the end of the half, Thielen in the end zone. That was a great play by that Griffin guy.
Yeah, it was a good play.
In the end zone. I thought that was a touchdown, but unfortunately, it wasn't.
Yeah. I just want to give a quick shout out. I mean, I've been watching a lot of film. CJ Ham, I don't think he gets enough love. I mean, he played a lot of snaps over the weekend, and there was times he met Bobby Wagner straight up in the hole, and he put Bobby Wagner on the ground. I think a lot of Dalvin and the running game success is, I know our offensive line is pretty solid in run blocking, but I mean, CJ Ham, he carves holes for these running backs, and I feel like they are so I just feel like he's so underrated in the NFL, and I mean, CJ Ham, he had a hell of a day. But there's one play on defense that kind of bugged me the wrong way. I think it was Jim. You already mentioned it when, we just turned the ball over for the second straight possession. And Chris Carson, I get he's good. But, I mean, Lieber was talking about that. That just can't happen where you just pretty much – I mean, it's not like they were on the 10-yard line. Like, that was a 32-yard run or something like that. Like, it was not just like a little handoff of them. I mean, he ran through the entire – it was just a halfback dive. And that just can't happen on a defense. And I guarantee you, if Pete Carroll is our coach, that does not happen. That's just, you got to rally. I mean, Harrison Smith, I love Harry, but dude, you're trying to get a fumble at the sticks, like at the first down. You're trying to rip the ball from him. He just ran right through him. I don't know. That was disappointing to me.
That's my thing. Like, that's my thing. Obviously, you see after the big decision on Sunday night to go for, you see the Fire Zimmer tweets, which
is ridiculous. But
Mike Zimmer shouldn't be fired for going for it on 4th and 1. But if there is a change to be made, I mean, let's look at the. I'm just looking at big games that the Vikings have played. Why this stuff happens on Sunday night. They're up 13-0, and yeah, the offense became a disaster. But defensively, like, you can hold them to a field.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
And like against the Titans this year, they're up 24-12. Stop score for the Titans in a matter of like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it falls apart so easily. Like, whenever momentum shifts, the Vikings defense just kind of crumbles. And like, even last year, like, they're playing in a big game in Kansas City against Kansas City's backup quarterback.
Yep.
The Vikings give up a 91-yard touchdown run to a team that really doesn't run the ball.
Yep.
At Seattle last year, they're up 17-10 and a half. It starts to become a problem on offense. The defense just crumbles.
Yep.
Like, that's the kind of stuff like you were saying with like a Pete Carroll coach team. this is the kind of stuff that just continually happens with the Vikings under Zimmer and Cousins. Like,
Yep.
I was ready to pull the stat out. So since the Vikings have had Cousins and Zimmer, or when Cousins joined the team in 2018, when they've played playoff teams, so like in 2018 when they played a team that made the playoffs in 2018,
Yeah.
they were 3-16 in those games. Like, everyone's saying they're 1-4 because they played a good schedule. Well, you could have beat one of them. Like,
Yeah.
like, if you beat one of them,
I hate that excuse too. I really hate that, because especially on like a short season, if the Vikings win 2 of those games, you know, technically the schedule's not as hard, because technically the Titans are and it's not like they didn't have a chance. Like, it's not like we're going against like I mean, I get the Seahawks and Titans, I mean, are pretty good, but I mean, just win one of them. Like, you can't just fold.
Maybe your final drive against the Titans shouldn't be a complete disaster. Like, a team looks like they haven't run
high school
before. Like, I'm sorry, that falls on the head coach. Like, like that falls on the head coach. Like, what happens in the third quarter in Seattle, that falls on the head coach. That stuff can't happen.
I mean, it's so frustrating because I feel like this team is talented. I mean, yes, we have holes. I mean, there's obviously holes at guard. I mean, this team's not built perfectly. We're missing Daniil, Barr, and Pierce. However, it's not like we are missing Kendrick, Smith. Like, I mean, Yannick's had a hell of a season. I mean, our offense is kind of all there besides Elfline, and it's Elfline. But I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of excuses, and it's been the same excuses for the past 3 years. I mean, I don't get it.
Every big game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, should this team, like, I mean, if I don't know if Vikings ownership sees it that way, if Ziggy Wolf really cares that much, but this team should be like,
they're not a 1-4
team.
They're not a 1-4 team.
Like, that's on the, like, they weren't ready to play the first 2 games, and they haven't executed in big situations in the last 3. Like,
yeah,
it's frustrating.
What are the chances Atlanta's a meltdown this weekend? High. You think?
Well,
I mean, Vegas only has us at 3.
You look at history. I mean,
Yeah,
this is a classic.
Coming
Vikings
off an
show
emotional
here.
loss.
I mean, I don't know if you can. I mean, the Vikings are 1-4 and the Falcons are 0-5. So I don't know if you can really say that in this case, you know. But I mean, I can see the Vikings coming out and just, you know, flopping,
Mailing it in. And then Zimmer should be gone. Like, I hate firing a coach mid-season, but there's always a couple games, and I mean, it used to be like 1 game a year. I mean, you guys remember, I think it was a year after Blair missed a field goal, and it was against the Colts, and it was at US Bank later on in the year, and they lost like 38-6 or whatever it was. Yeah, or something like that. And then it was Buffalo, and then it should have been Denver last year, but
game every year under Zimmer.
there's always, and then this year we've already had 2 of them in Green Bay.
He did have a no-show though against the Packers and Colts.
And I could easily see it being again. I mean, listen, there's no way this team, you look at our opening schedule, I get it's been tough, but you do not start 1-5. Like,
you should be at the worst 3-3.
oh yeah.
You want to be a good team. You gotta, at one point, you gotta beat a good team, right?
I mean, you can't just beat up on the Lions and just the Lions.
Seahawks D is the worst in the NFL.
Yeah.
They win off offense, you know.
And it's also, there's no fans. Like, there's no fans in Seattle. Like, if there's a chance to win in Seattle,
it was this year.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it's tough. I just really hope they don't flop this Sunday. I mean, I don't think they will. I just think the offense is too explosive to flop. I mean, it should be an entertaining game.
It'll be a shootout, I think, but also just, I mean, Falcons just fired Dan Quinn. I can see the Falcons coming out and playing.
Yeah, they're gonna come out and play for something.
You notice that, you know, after what?
There's that stigma of you fire a head coach, the team comes out and plays really hard. I mean, it's
because they want to be right.
Proven. I mean, look what the Texans did last week.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying the Vikings shouldn't win. I'm just saying that I think the Falcons might actually, you know, be ready to play.
Well, if you think about it, if you're a player and everybody's looking at who to blame in Atlanta, if you go get a win in Minnesota after Dan Quinn's fired, I feel like it's like, oh, okay, so he was the problem.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my bold prediction for Sunday is if they do lose, and I got a bad feeling that they are.
Yeah.
I think this is when the ownership starts to look at because I know there's some stigma about the ownership that they don't care about winning, but I think they do.
They put so much money into this team.
Yeah, they put a lot of money into that stadium and a lot of money into this team, and it was. I don't think people realized it was pretty close last year when they were going to that playoff game in New Orleans. I think they're prepared to make a change.
Yep.
If I don't know what. I know they won that game and it was a nice win and we were all excited to beat the Saints, but
That
what's going to happen the next week?
Yeah.
And they were preparing because even though last year they were a playoff team, you saw a lot of the same stuff that
Yep.
you've seen this year. Like
It's the same thing every year.
yeah.
Every year.
I think if they lose on Sunday, I think the ownership's going to start. I'm not saying he's going to get fired after the game. That's not.
He should fire him,
I'm
but
not going to say he's going to get fired this season, but I wouldn't be surprised if that seat starts to get hotter. I know they signed an extension. The ownership they signed Brad Childress to an extension, and I know that turned into a dumpster fire. They fired him the year they signed an extension. Same thing with Leslie Frazier, and I just want to say a shout out to Leslie Frazier. I still think Leslie's a great coach.
I love Leslie.
Doing well with the Bills.
Well, the thing that I think, for leverage for Zimmer, I think if Stefanski was still here, I think Zimmer, if we lost like this Sunday, I think it would be 100% deal that he's gone and Stefanski's the head coach. But who are you gonna? I don't think Kubiak would want to be a head coach.
No.
And
I'm not saying they're gonna fire him,
Too old at
but
this
I'm
point.
saying like if
yeah,
I really do think the ownership thought they'd still be a playoff team this year.
I think everybody. They should. This roster's way too talented.
People are saying 9-10 wins. I'll say one thing is that I think the Vikings might regret letting Kevin Stefanski.
Yep.
What he's doing with the Browns.
Yep.
I think I honestly, young football.
That makes me so mad.
Yeah.
You have a
he's been
dude.
for 11 years.
You have a dude who is there for 10 plus years.
Yeah, I'm gonna be pretty mad if he keeps killing it with Browns because that could have been a money hire.
That's.
It's the Browns. Give it a couple weeks.
I'm not saying that's what I'm saying. If it keeps going.
But
I don't know.
Stefanski, you gotta give him credit.
He's a likable guy too.
Organization for the Vikings for since Childress got there,
Yeah.
he paid his dues. He waited a while, so he's pretty.
It's the Vikings' fault.
Vikings gonna hire him.
If you have a dude in that building who's that smart we saw it last year. The offense. Noah had its games where it just flopped last year,
Yeah.
but we've had our games this year where it's flopped, and I don't think it's because of Stefanski. I think that's just the way Cousins is. I just think that's the way the team is built.
You gotta take those flops with a grain of salt because you know who's in his ear. Going to these games,
Zimmer's in his ear too.
Play
Exactly.
it, run it, play conservative. We need to.
He's a conservative coach. He was a defensive coach, so he's gonna think he can rely on D. So that's part of the problem too.
Yeah, listen, the Vikings. If they lose this Sunday, there's going to be a lot of commotion over the. It is going to be a long bye week, and then we got Green Bay. Listen. This season, we were joking around. We could legitimately end up with a top 5 pick if we lose this week, because I could see this just becoming a dumpster fire. Everybody's out. If we lose to Atlanta.
Fans want plug-and-play guard. They want a plug-and-play guard at the top 10 pick. Wyatt Davis is the guy we're looking at. That's what I've seen. Wyatt Davis.
If Cleveland goes the whole year.
The Vikings need.
Yeah. If Cleveland goes the whole year without playing, I think, I'm going to be.
That bothers me.
James Lynch has 8 snaps too. Why? Listen, actually one highlight out of Seattle I loved.
Looked good last week.
He did. It was James Lynch, Armin Watts, and DJ Wonham, and they got a sack, and they had 3 pressures on that play. I was like, this is great, but they never went back to him. They love Jaleel Johnson.
Yeah. Like I think I've seen enough of Jaleel Johnson.
I've seen.
I just don't think he's it. Like
I just think he's decent. Like he's not gonna make or break anything.
no. Like you gotta play Watts and Wonham and Lynch. Those are guys who are young guys. They need to play. It's not like they're getting consistent pressure anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Let him play.
the only person who's doing that is Unique, and he's been a stud. But yeah. Anyways, guys, that was pretty much just a recap. We kind of got into this, getting in on Vikings management right there. But anyways, we're looking forward to the game on Sunday. Leave a like on the video and comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this, and let me know your thoughts on what's going on with the Vikings so far. Anyways, guys, I'll talk to you later. Peace.